Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So before I start, I would just want to say this because maybe someone is gonna ask and they don't follow me on Twitter, so they don't know what's going on. But the third part of my You Know Who series will be up one of these days. I debated not uploading it at all, though not making it at all, because of recent events, but I actually got the help from one of my friends. She is a trans woman and she told me that she wanted me to do it and that she wanted to help write the script because she says that a lot of people outside of Twitter or that are not that into social media maybe don't know what's happening, and that it was just a good source of information to be out there. We're not gonna mention her name. We are just gonna talk about the facts, and we're gonna promote a bunch of trans artists and a bunch of GoFundMes for trans people who need help with homing situations, with surgeries, with whatever they need. So that's gonna happen. It's gonna take a while because my friend has a job and she's a student, so she doesn't have a lot of free time, and I really want her input on everything. And she's amazing and I love working with her, but she can only work on the weekends, so the script is gonna take a while to finish, but whatever, when it's done and you'll see it. But for now, I thought I would upload another video just to not abandon this channel until that is done. And I thought we'll do something not more lighthearted, because this is not lighthearted in my opinion. I have a lot of opinions about this. Just something that I didn't have to write a script, and it's just I'm gonna read something and I'm gonna say some of my opinions about this and my experience that was not, I don't want to say very similar, but like I can understand this situation, and maybe you guys have your own opinions or you've gone through something similar. But if you don't know what this is if you don't know what Reddit is, I'm not gonna explain what Reddit is because everyone knows what Reddit is. But this is a subreddit called Am I the Asshole? And just people ask questions, or not questions, but they pose a situation and they want to see if they're the bad person in this situation, like if they're right or they're wrong. And there's also like sometimes, like we're gonna see today, where people post the potential of them being an asshole. So this is what we're gonna see today. So what I'm gonna do to just get right into it, because I don't know how long this is gonna be, I'm gonna read the whole post first, then I'm gonna go like point by point through the post. Then I'm gonna read because there's like some updates or edits. We're gonna go through those, and maybe if it hasn't been too long, we can go through some of the comments. But this is a situation I can relate to a lot, and one of my friends sent it to me, and I was like, oh my god, this makes me so upset. But let's just go through it. I'm gonna read it all first. I'm gonna leave the link down below in case you want to read it with me, or in case you want to see the comments. This is actually not that old. This was posted today my time, which is, it's September 19, but it's 12 a.m. So this was posted September 18. It's very recent. This one is titled, Would I be the asshole if I told my sister she can't draw? I just saw that and I was like, why would you ever do that? Like, why would you ever tell anyone that? But since these posts sometimes are like misleading, like you read the title and you're like inclined one way, and then you read the situation and everything changes, I thought I'd give it a read. And then after I read it, I was like, oh, I need to make a video about this, because I was gonna make a video of something similar to this, but this situation is very, like, I was gonna talk about this at some point in this channel, so this was kind of like a perfect opportunity. So let's see. My sister didn't start drawing until her 8th grade year, and to be honest, she's not good. I understand it takes time, but she's now a sophomore in high school and she has not progressed at all. She still regularly buys how to draw books. She can't paint, her lines are wiggly, she bases everything on the books, which aren't good anyways, and she only specifically draws people whose anatomy is nearly non-existent. But she calls herself an artist and tries to sell her stuff, getting upset when no one wants it. Through her journey of art, I have supported her. I've tried helping too, occasionally giving critique, but only when she asks for it. But anytime I do, she gets upset and cries because I'm saying I don't like it. It actually got to the point that during one of her tantrums, I blew up at her and admitted that she was right and I didn't like it. But I was trying to help her become better. She spent the rest of the morning making passive-aggressive comments at me. And now it all comes together. We were talking about our future plans with my mom during dinner, and sister said she wanted to go to Ringling College of Art and Design and CalArts to get her degrees and become an animator at Disney. And I and my mother said we support her dreams. My mom then told sister that she needed to have a backup plan if it didn't work out. Sister freaked out and said we weren't supporting her and that she didn't need a backup because she was good enough to work at Disney right away and didn't have to worry about anything else. Mom calmly explained that she wasn't trying to imply sister couldn't do it, just that if by some strings of bad luck it didn't work, she would have an income coming from somewhere else. Sister started screaming that her art was all she needed and she'd do commissions through college to pay for it all. This is where I had to leave. I was forcing myself to stay quiet because frankly her art isn't selling with people, so there's no way she's going to be able to get into both of those colleges and eventually work at Disney with her current skills. That's not to say she might not improve later, but the truth of the matter is that she can't do it without significant improvement in her art and portfolio. My mom says I should just let her do what she wants and to not antagonize her into starting a fight. She has a horrible temper, no patience, and is very holier than thou in everything she does. But I'm trying to be realistic and I don't want her to be heartbroken when she's not accepted and has nowhere to go other than home with our mother after high school with no plan. So Reddit, would I be the asshole if I told her that her art isn't good enough and she needs a backup plan? Yes, you would be the asshole. Okay, so let's break this into parts because there's like some valid points here, but I feel like this person thinks that their sister is like adult with a fully developed brain here. And I can't say I was any better when I was in, what did he say, sophomore year? Was that 10th grade? Oh my god, like how old are you in 10th grade? 16? 15? I don't know. I don't know where this is. I'm guessing since they said sophomore is America, so I'm gonna guess like 15, 16. The first part where it says that she started in 8th grade and she's now in sophomore and she has not progressed at all. Bruh, who would have progress a lot? Like, that's nothing. 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, that's 3 years? Less than 3 years maybe? That's nothing. Oh my god. I started drawing like seriously when I was in 6th grade. And by my senior year, like, yeah, I was a little better. But I was not great. I was not amazing at it by any stretch. 3 years is nothing. Like, I feel like a lot of people think that if you draw every day for a month, you're gonna get better. And that's not how it works. You have to draw a lot for years to get any better. Some people have it easier. Some people have like a knack for it. Some people like just see the way they see the world, they can transmit it with their hands easier than others. But here's the thing, everyone can learn how to draw. I'm like a firm believer that everyone can learn how to draw. I've known people who started like not knowing anything and are so good right now. And I know so many people who are like, oh, I tried drawing but I wasn't good at it. And I was like, for how long did you try? And they were like, for a month. Like, how do you expect to get good in a month? Because nobody gets good in a month. That aside, that like, as soon as I read that she has not progressed at all, I'm sure she has. I'm sure from 8th grade to sophomore year, she has progress. Maybe it's not like the progress you expect because you have like some notion of what good art is or how much, I don't even know like how you expect a teenager to just out of nowhere get like amazing at art. Because don't get me wrong, there's a lot of 14-year-olds, there are a lot of teenagers who are really good at art. Like, don't get me wrong, I see them all the time and sometimes I'm like, wow, when I was 14 I was drawing horribly compared to them. But everyone learns at their own pace. The part where like she regularly buys how to draw books, I bought those, they're terrible. I can relate to like trying to learn from how to draw books and not getting any better because they're not really good. I would recommend YouTube videos, they're way better if you can afford like art classes, because I'm guessing she can't afford art classes because I don't know why you wouldn't get to art classes if you could afford them. But there's like tons of ways to learn how to draw these days, which for example, when I was 14, the internet wasn't what it is now. You can find like, you can go to YouTube and look for art tutorials. She can't paint. Her lines are wiggly. I don't know why there's this idea that straight lines or like neat lines are like the goal in art, because there's tons of artists that have like sketchy lines, they have like wiggly lines, like their lines are not perfect and the art is still good because lines mean nothing. She can't paint, well, she can learn how to paint. Everyone can learn how to paint. She bases everything on the books, which aren't good anyway, and she only specifically draws people whose anatomy is nearly non-existent. I'm sorry, but like, have you ever seen Picasso? I'm not a big Picasso fan, because I'm not a big fan of abstract art, but that's another thing. But like, I would say Picasso's anatomy is non-existent, and who is Picasso? Super known artist. So I don't know. I don't know the point here. Honestly, I feel like this is someone very ignorant about what art is and what being an artist is, and they have like this idea that art is like this beautiful thing, which I get later on because she says she wants to work on Disney, but we'll get to that. She calls herself an artist. She's an artist. If she's drawing and she likes drawing and she wants to draw for the rest of her life, maybe not for the rest of her life, even if it's just a hobby, she's an artist. You don't get to decide who is an artist because you think their work is bad. If you think their work is bad, that's on you. And tries to sell her stuff, getting upset when no one wants it, that's totally normal. When I started offering commissions, I didn't get any commissions, and I got upset because you think your work is good, or you think someone's gonna want it, and then they don't want it, and you're gonna feel bad about it. But that's like part of it, that's part of the experience of being an artist. So it says here, through her journey of art, I have supported her. I mean, I don't believe that based on the previous things. A way you can support someone that is like, and I've done this before. If there's an artist that just started commissions, or like is really looking to get there, like, you can support them by buying their work. I don't know if this person has any money, but I've seen like tons of people, a lot of my friends started doing commissions and getting no commissions and kind of like getting sad about it because nobody wants to work. So I would just commission them, or I would buy them coffees and they would give me like little drawings, and it was great when I had money and I could do that. I've tried helping to occasionally giving critique, but only when she asks for it. But anytime I do, she's upset and cries because I'm saying I don't like it. What I see here is someone who has never learned to take critique, and that's a big problem nowadays. A lot of people don't know how to take critique, and I didn't learn how to take critique until I was in university, because before that I went to a school where it wasn't really critique. It was like commenting on what you did to make you feel bad and then giving you bad grades. It wasn't critique. So a lot of people can't take critique. So I understand her getting upset because it's hard to take critique when you haven't learned how to. When so many people, and this person doesn't specify this here, but from my own experience, sometimes it's really hard to take critique when people are telling you that you're not good at it and not giving you reasons. So for example, my family never told me I wasn't good at art and I couldn't pursue art. A lot of like my teachers and my classmates would tell me that my art was not good because I drew quote unquote anime. Saying your art is not good because it's anime is not like a good reason. So sometimes you get defensive. You get defensive because you don't see that like as an actual critique, and then you kind of internalize that, and all critiques start sounding like they're attacking you and hating you, and you're just trying to do your best. And she's a teenager. The sister is a teenager here. And I feel like this person is not taking that into account at all. Maybe this person is also a teenager. I don't know. But I just feel like, being a teenager is hard. Going through hormonal changes and all that is hard. And then having people being hard on your art that you're really passionate about and you want to pursue in your life, it can really get to you. This person says that they don't like their sister's art, which is a valid thing, but what I said before is just like sometimes you internalize things a little too much when you're a teenager, even when you're an adult, but especially when you're a teenager, you internalize everything. I think it would be better to have a conversation. Maybe it's not easy to have a conversation with this sister in particular because she seems to be very emotional, which there's nothing wrong with it. But anyways, let's continue because I'm like ranting here and this video is so long already. She spent the morning making passive aggressive comments to me. That just sounds like a teenager to me. Talking about future plans about university and Disney and all that. There's nothing wrong with aiming high, honestly. Like, yeah, Disney sounds like a lot, and Ringling College of Art, CalArts, all of that sounds like a lot. But let me tell you something. I've known people whose art in high school was pretty rough. It's what I would call rough. It was not the best. It was not bad. It was just rough. And I've known some people who were lower than rough. It's like they had a hard time. And nowadays, they're amazing. They've done they've done amazing projects. They work for important brands and names, because one thing is what you do in high school and one thing is what you do after high school. There's nothing wrong with aiming high. You might think, oh my god, Disney is like the highest thing, but you don't understand that to be a professional artist, you don't always have to be the best artist, because not every job in which you're an artist, you have to be good at art. Sometimes you just have to have good ideas. So there's like tons of areas in animation, for example, where you don't have to be like an amazing artist to get a job. And once again, she's in high school. She can learn all of this. When I started, well, I went to university for graphic design, which is not the same. First semester, there was tons of people who didn't know how to draw. That by the end of the 4 years, we're so good at drawing. Once you're in university and you can focus in this solely, then it's a lot easier to learn. Before I had like homework and projects and oh my god, I have to read 2 books and all that. So I couldn't just sit down and draw as much as I would want to. I feel like I'm getting really long on this. I'm sorry. It's just I have a lot of feelings about this because it just reminded me a lot of like my personal story. I think the whole thing with having a second choice or third choice or many choices is something very valid. But once again, sophomore, you're still missing junior and senior year. I feel like junior and senior year, you kind of like internalize more the idea of having backups and all that. There's a part where they say like she has a horrible temper, no patience, and is very holier than thou in everything she does. So like most teenagers, I think a lot of teenagers are like that. I personally was not holier than thou because I was very shy, but I had a horrible temper and no patience. Like that's something I was as a teenager. And I feel like they say they're being realistic, but I feel like they're just being like an asshole. Because once again, she's a teenager, okay? Like, oh my god, like is this person a teenager too? That's what I keep thinking because I just think back of like being a teenager and just how much I struggle with stuff, especially when it came to like, oh, you have to pick a university and go to a university, because I just thought like high school was everything. Like unlike this person, I didn't have ambitions. I didn't have like, oh, I want to do this with my life. I kind of wanted to get into an art career because I thought that was the only thing I was good at, but then people were telling me that I wasn't good at it. So how do you think someone feels when you think you're only good at one thing and then people are like, yeah, but you're not good enough? Once again, it doesn't say this in this post, but I can't help but think that maybe this sister is also getting like some hate outside. They say at the beginning she's posting like for commissions and nobody's getting her commissions. And I'm just thinking that maybe she's receiving a lot of hate online, or maybe her teachers or her friends or classmates make fun of her for it. And that's never easy. It's never easy when you like put your passion into something and you want to become better, but you have people like just being horrible to you about it, especially online. Some people can be very cruel online and they think they know better, and they think that telling you your art is horrible is a good thing and that you can't draw is a good thing because it's critique and it's helping you grow. But telling someone that they can't draw is not critique. That's not how it works. And I feel like you could be way more supportive. Let's read the first edit. This post has been up for less than 2 hours. It is leaning more towards I am the asshole, and the more comments I read, the more I'm agreeing. I want to make it clear that it's never and will never be my intent to stop her from improving and progressing. I want her to achieve very much. I'm just worried about the possible consequences of her possible failure. I want what's best of her as a very good older sibling does, and the advice I receive has given me a lot to think about. Thank you all for your comments. I will continue to reply where I can. That's a really good thing. The thing is, I get that you want your sibling to succeed and you want your sibling to be good. I feel like you should just let her be a teenager for a little bit. Just let her, if she's bad at art, let her be bad at art. There's nothing wrong with being bad at art, because if I'm being honest, I don't believe anyone is bad at art, but that's just me. I'm glad that they're taking the advice and all of that, but improving and progressing, it's just that I can't imagine, like, she's so young still for her to be told that she's not good at something when she's not even an adult yet. Like, even if she was in her 30s, I know so many people who started drawing like in their 20s, and of course when they started they were in the past, but they've gotten so good. It's just I can't wrap my head around like this idea of what an artist is, because I feel like that's the big problem here, is that there's this whole idea of what an artist is and isn't, and it's just kind of fucked up that this is how people perceive artists. That if you think someone isn't good at drawing because they don't fit the idea of what a good artist is, then they're gonna fail. The second edit says, my question seems to have become skewed when I had to condense for character limit. I won't be telling her you suck, you should quit art. I'd just be suggesting and encouraging her to continue to work at it and not become complacent where she is. I think that's very valid. Once again, if they're older and if, I mean, this person is not hearing this, I know, and I'm not gonna comment on it because if I'm being honest, Reddit has been asking me to confirm my email for like 4 years and I still haven't confirmed it. If this was my sister and I was in a position where I could help her, I would just help her get the skills. I can't imagine a world where my siblings or my parents were telling me that I couldn't draw, because my siblings always said like, oh, you draw so pretty. They were always very supportive. Until this day, they're very supportive. Like my brother, for example, I don't think I've ever said this on YouTube, but my brother is like my second father. He has done so much for me. He's always supported my art career. And he, at one point he was like, oh, we should open a business, you know, surrounding your art, maybe like creating t-shirts and all that. Okay, so Audacity stopped recording there, and I'm not sure where I left off, but I was talking about how my brother was supportive and my sister was really supportive, and I couldn't imagine like growing up with them being like, you can't draw and you're bad at art and you're possibly gonna fail. I get that, you know, probably the sister is really hard to talk to, but I was really hard to talk to as a teenager. Like looking at myself as a teenager, I don't know if I could handle myself, you know? I was moody, I was, you know, I had a temper, I had no patience, I was always complaining about anything. Not that has changed, I still complain about everything. But, I don't know. I want to read a few of the comments now, even though this video is already like half an hour long. The first one says, not your monkeys, not your circus. It is not your job to tell your sister you think her work is crap. Let her try and do her thing. If she fails, then be supportive. Exactly, like let her do her thing. You know, you have to fail. You have to fail to succeed. You won't always succeed first try. I've seen a lot of failures in my life, and I don't think I would be here without those failures. And I don't think I would have learned anything if I had succeeded from the beginning. Well, there's a comment here that said, but if her work isn't good enough, isn't it better to tell her now rather than after she tries going to college, spends a bunch of money, then comes out a few years later without an education? I don't know about that. Like, if she's really passionate about it and she goes to college for art, once again, I'm telling you, I knew so many people who started first semester knowing nothing, and they graduating being really good at art, being good artists, because that's what's called. I don't know what this is. This like an American thing? Let me know if this is an American thing. But like, do you have to be good at art before you get to an art school? Because I have no idea, to be honest. Like, I know like some art schools require portfolios, but that's really not a thing here. You don't. You just need to have like a decent grade. For my university in particular, there are universities that don't require grades at all. But you need to be good at art to get into like an art school, because I honestly don't know, and that's not the thing here. You could be first semester and just know nothing. So let me know, because I honestly don't know. But I think that if she's really passionate about it, she's gonna learn. And it might not be here's the thing, it might not be your idea of what good art is, but it might be like what she's capable of might be good for a lot of people, because everyone has different tastes. And once again, I post Picasso. I think I made this comparison in one of my previous videos, but Picasso when he started and Picasso when he ended, two very different things. And a lot of people might think that he got worse, but he got where he wanted in life. He started with very realistic like portraits and went to completely abstract, and that was his goal in life. While a lot of people might see doing realistic paintings as the goal, that's not what Picasso saw. Picasso wanted to learn how to draw like a child. I think that's what he said. I might be misquoting this because I haven't taken art history in years, but your goals of what you want your art to be or where your art can take you don't have to please everyone. They don't have to be their ideal of good art. I think one thing, and there's a comment mentioning that she can't take critique. To be honest, I didn't learn how to take critique until I was in university. So at first, the first like few semesters when my teachers would critique me, I would take it very personally. But like, here's the thing, it's very different when like a sibling is critiquing your work and a teacher is critiquing your work. So if you see this person who's really good at what they do, let's say design or color or whatever, and they critique your work in a respectful way, because some teachers are not respectful, then that's just a reality. Some teachers are just assholes and rude and have like a power kink. I shouldn't have said kink. If critique is being told to you respectfully, you learn how to take it. And I think like maybe right now she's in high school and she has a hard time taking critique, but she can learn, because you can learn to take critique. And for me, that place was university. Comment here says if she's just a sophomore in high school right now, she still has a lot of time to improve and maybe become skilled enough to have a successful career in art. She was already in college and still underperforming. It might make sense to be brutally honest with her, but at this point, all it's going to do is screw with her head and probably make it harder for her to improve. Completely agree. And I was talking about this earlier with a friend, but I feel like all those people who were like super mean to me in high school, and like those teachers and classmates who were like, oh, you can't draw, or you're never gonna get anywhere with art. I think those are the kind of people who made me develop an imposter syndrome. Let's read like one more comment that I saw that I was like, they find good enough. There's the loads of animations roles that don't involve flawless realism, coloring, storyboarding, etc. And loads of artists with crappy styles that are hugely successful. And I completely agree, because it's what I said before. There's tons of ways you can be in the art industry without being the best illustrator in the world, because nobody's the best illustrator in the world. And here this the poster commented, it's kind of hard to describe her style. I feel like my inability to describe it without sounding like the asshole just proves I'm the asshole. I describe it as those shitpost people make of Mary Sue characters. It often looks like those, but she's taking it seriously. I would definitely love to say that it's poor quality. It's just based on my personal opinion, but it's not just my taste that made me question this. I thought that was completely an asshole thing to say, because there's people who like that. There's people who like meme shitposty art. You don't like it, you think it's poor quality, but someone else might think it's good. There's reason why like there's artists who are not good artists, but they make webcomics and they're successful, because sometimes it doesn't matter. And the reply the first person put is, I really like to. Everyone makes cringe comics when they start. It's called learning, which is exactly what she's trying to do. Except you're insulting a beginner instead of encouraging them to improve. Here's a tip. Go to the questionable content online comment. Look at the first page ever. It's not really brilliantly illustrated. Now skip to the most recent. It's great, and he has done dozens of books of them because he drew every single day without giving up. Megan Nicole Dong does derby comics, but now she's doing her own show for Netflix. Kate Beaton has multiple books out. Scott C works for Marvel and Star Wars. Most of the internet recognizes Ali Brush's work even if you don't know her name. So exactly, like you can't measure success like that. And once again, she's so young. I think at this point I'm repeating myself, but she's so young. Oh my god. And the replies to this from the poster is, it's never my intent to stop her from improving and reaching her potential, but it kind of feels like it is, because why else would you tell someone they can't draw, right? I think at this point I'm just gonna repeat myself, but yeah, this person would be the asshole if they said that, because that could just completely, I mean, maybe not, because from her attitude I can tell that she doesn't give a shit. She's probably gonna keep doing it, but you don't know how that is affecting her internally. Because once again, I apply my personal experience. I would act like those comments didn't hurt me, but till this day they hurt me. Like, oh my god, in 6th grade, this guy, so I had a friend who did art too, right? And this guy told me that my art was ugly and like my friend drew better. And till this day I think about that. And sometimes I see like her post art and I'm like, oh yeah, she's better than me, because of that comment I got in 6th grade. So some of those things cut deep, and that's why I feel like this person is an asshole, because they don't know like the emotional trauma that can bring to you. Because for them, being an artist is not a big deal. I can tell they know nothing about art. It's not a big deal, but for her it probably is. And that's like the worst part of this all. It's not that she is a beginner and that she has all that progress to come. It's that those little comments might seem like they're rolling off and that she has a holier than thou attitude, but you don't know how that is affecting her internally and what she's hiding and what like her bad attitude is masking. And that's all. And I'm gonna leave it here because I feel like this is already an hour long, but let me know what you think. I wanted to do a video for a long time about, you know, people who don't have, like, maybe you're young and you're a teenager, you're just starting your 20s and people are not being supportive. Just keep doing what you want to do. You won't get good in 3 months. You won't get good in 3 years. You might not get good in 10 years. I've been drawing since I was 12, and now I still think I'm not very good. I have so much to improve. I get very complacent, and tons of artists will tell you the same. Like the highest paying artists are gonna tell you that art is hard, and it doesn't come easy to everyone. Some people might have like a knack for it, and that's like just with everything. Some people have a knack for math. Some people are really good at writing. But just because you're not good at it at first doesn't mean you can't get good. Because once again, I believe everyone can learn to draw if they want to. It's not an easy skill. I don't know why people think art is an easy skill, because it's not. And I'm gonna leave it at that. So sorry this was longer than I expected. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, bye.